Welcome to Living Live, where we bring interesting people to you to help with your business and personal growth. We believe that every human is born with excellence, but some people get led astray and never come back, while others make their way back.
Hi, this is Linda West with Living Live, and I'm excited today to interview David Di Giorgio. Now, have you ever wondered, how does somebody speak on a TEDx stage? Well, my next guest not only has spoken on the stage, but he is a TEDx speaking coach. Now, David Di Giorgio is an unapologetic speaker, author, TEDx coach, writer for Life by Design magazine, co-founder of the Global Thought Leaders Network, and creator of the Speaker Experience at Sea. He is on a mission to deliver vision and positive transformation around the world. As a longtime theater producer, creator, educator, and visionary leader, he takes an unapologetic approach to creating community, connection, and change that shatters the mold of formulas and blueprints. This has made him the go-to creative expert for on-purpose creatives, leaders, and experienced creators who have big ideas worth spreading and want to go from being unheard and uncertain to unforgettable and unstoppable speakers and global thought leaders. Welcome, David. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. Great to be here with you, Linda.
Well, you know, your bio there, really, it screams a lot of questions for me. So can we just dive right in? Is that okay with you?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so for the first thing is an unapologetic speaker and coach. What is that, and how did you get that name?
So it's really interesting. A couple of years ago, I moved from Canada to the United States.
You betcha.
And in that time, you aren't allowed to work officially, and there's a waiting period during immigration. And in that time, basically, I went back to school and I learned what kind of business do I want to do? What do I want to do now that I'm in a new country? And I just gave myself sort of a clean slate.
What did you do before that?
Right. So I've worked with performers, presenters, and speakers my entire life, actually. I'm a composer originally and a musical director.
What kind of music? I got to interrupt
you. What kind of music? All kinds. I've done all sorts of stuff. I've written all kinds of music. Musical theater was my main area that I
Oh my gosh. Oh, Oklahoma, where the wind.
Right.
I'm totally into musical theater. I love it. Sorry, just like a little aside here. But I don't know if you know, I play bass guitar and sing in a rock band. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that. Look at that. Yeah. So I've been in music my whole life, and working with performers and presenters my whole life. And in that, I also was a head of a music department for a high school for 10 years.
Okay.
And at the same time that I was doing that and pitching TV shows and all this sort of crazy stuff, I also opened up a yoga studio. So I basically have this really interesting background of performance and production, transformation, and education, and I bring that all together. So what happened is when I finally came here, there's no shortage of events and conferences in San Diego, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, right? You could be at one like every weekend.
Oh my God, it's so hard to choose what to go to too, because you can see it like 10 one weekend.
I know. It's so West Coast. It's changing a little bit now on the East Coast, but this is not an East Coast thing. It's very specific over here. And it's like this triangle of conferences and events. So I started going to all these conferences and events, and I saw these really amazing entrepreneurs, some of them making a lot of money, get on stage and be terrible. And I thought, oh no, is this a thing? Like, I've been in the performance world, high performance world for my whole life. I'm like, what? These people have amazing ideas and the huge impact that they can create for the world. Okay, so that's one part of it. The other part is, so I started to really look at, well, who do I want to be, as I reinvent myself in my business and everything, because I knew I didn't want to go work for in the corporate world or work for anybody else at this point. And I've been an entrepreneur pretty much my whole life, but I knew coming here I didn't want to take on a regular job. And as I started to discover and develop my own story, I realized that I've spent my entire life being apologetic. The opposite.
Okay.
So, Canadians, we say sorry for everything.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, what would it look like for other people and myself to be unapologetic in their vision, in their story, in the way that they show up in the world?
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, right? And what's interesting, and it was just sort of an experiment, and I started going to networking events and saying it, people were very polarized. 99% of people loved it. and they would send me a message after and said, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I want to be unapologetic.
It's that
How do
pattern
I do
interrupt,
that?
right? Like people are so not used to that, so it's a pattern interrupt.
Right. And about 1% of the people were kind of like, ooh, negative, like it's a negative connotation.
Right, of course.
But that's okay, so that's not necessarily my audience, or they're taking the word literally, because literally the definition of the word is not positive. However, from my standpoint, unapologetic is like, what does it look like? Like I said, if you just show up in your own miracle, if you showed up fully as you, in alignment with your message, with your story, with who you are, rather than trying to present someone else's content or sell or whatever it is that, some other people are telling you should do in order to build success in your business. Because really that was the response. I got tired of following all of these other people on how to build a business. And I'm like, wait a minute here. I'm 40 years old. I'm almost 42 actually. So this is a couple years ago, right? Almost 42 is like, I've built success in my life in multiple areas. Why do I not know how to do this time? So I really started to just tune into myself and this whole unapologetic side. And since then it's really expanded. So there's about 30 unwords in the brand. And essentially I inspire people to choose their unpersonality and to own it, whether that's unmessable, unstoppable, unbreakable, unashamed, unanonymous. There's a whole bunch of different, for people to claim their identity and to just step into it and own it. And I found over my lifetime of work with, I started as a musical director at 16, believe it or not.
Wow.
Very, very young. Yeah. And so in working with so many performers over my life, I've realized that the X factor is actually being. Your way of being moves people. And so if you choose a way of being, like unapologetic, unstoppable, unmessable, it changes the way you show up for your audience.
For sure.
And it's what I've seen over 25 years of the work in the industry is truly that it factor, X factor.
So would you call that your unbrand?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's so true because I'm 54. I'm on the verge of 55, and I at 51 started to unleash that. I got to discover who I am and who I am being, because who do I want to be? Am I being who I want to be? And if not, who do I want to be? And you said that when you came here, you wanted to figure out, like, who did you want to be like? I didn't write down the exact words, but who was that? Who was that though? You didn't say who. I'm curious.
So, you follow all and now I look back and I went back to my roots. There were a number of entrepreneurs that I followed, and they all had the exact system and the exact blueprint and the roadmap and the whatever, the fill in the blank, and it wasn't working for me. And I thought, wait a minute, what is going on here? And I'm not saying that it doesn't necessarily work. It worked for them. And what I took from it is, well, that's not quite working for me. So what does work for me? And I realized what works for me is, like what you were just saying, is figuring out who you are. Doesn't matter. You're never too old. Like, who are you and who have you been your entire life? So I went back to my basics. So when people ask me, when I'm being interviewed about speaking and things like this, they say, who are your speaking idols? And here are my answers. Michael Jackson, Dolly Parton. In the speaking world, Damon John, Celine Dion. And people are like, well, wait a minute, those are performers. And I'm like, yeah, because look at their being. Whether you like them or not, it's undeniable who they are, and they just ooze themselves.
Oh my God. Cyndi Lauper is a great example, right? Because she's just so out there. Her hair's pink right now and she's in her 60s. I mean, might be even older. I don't know how old she is, but yeah, so to really, and I love that, because that's what I've been looking at more recently too, is looking at those people who are like they're just so far out there in our mind, but they're being who they want to be. Now that might not be who they are when they're at the grocery store, but as a performer, that's who they want to be, and they're being that, and that's so amazing.
Right. And then if we look also in the space of super successful thought leaders, people that we remember, from Jesus to Elon Musk, whoever you want to call as someone who's memorable, they are out of the box. They were unapologetically themselves, and it works. And people who create massive change in the world are just a little bit different, a little bit crazy, a little bit just out of the box. And so I thought, okay, well, sign me up for that. And that's what I hear from you too, is like at 50, is, by the way, you look great. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
thank you. Thank
Like
you.
we both discovered, I mean, I don't know about you,
Double
but I pour
nickel.
pickle juice all over myself every night.
Oh,
right?
pickle juice. Okay. Where do you put it? Everybody uses
Just
bathe
all
in
over
it.
my face, right? Yeah.
I bathe in pickle juice. Wait, I'm going to make sure I cut that. Bathe in pickle. I don't want to be picking that up and using it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
The outtakes.
Yeah, it's so awesome because that was the thing is when I started down the path of self-discovery, I realized, first of all, that I had spent so much of my life trying to please everybody else. And when I was with you, I would have been this way. And then when I was with this person, I'd be this way. But the problem is, what if those two people get together and you're with all three?
Well, and here's the beauty. And, science is starting to prove this more and more and more. Exactly what you're describing. What you're saying is instantly you're taking yourself out of your power.
Yes.
So your atoms are no longer resonating at their natural vibrational levels. Okay. So, and as a music guy, I know like sympathetic vibration, I would do this joke with the kids, and either with the timpani or the piano, you take the pedal off on the piano and you sing at it, and one note will sing back at you because there's sympathetic vibration. So most of our life we spend not vibrating who we are. And so what does it look like when you step into a room where that visionary speaker or whoever performer, that's why I say Michael Jackson is such a good example of this, because whether you liked him or not, if you see him performing and speaking, like he is the music. He became it.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, I want that. That's what I want for myself and for the people that I work with.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what does it look like for you to truly vibrate, like I say, your miracle, like when you're in your miracle zone, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to be, you just have to be you for everybody. And then the right people will attract, law of attraction, the right people will attract to you sympathetically. They will be magnetically attracted to you. And guess what? The right people will also be repelled from you. So,
yes,
it's a bad thing.
It's brilliance. It might be scary at the beginning. So I'll just tell a really, really quick story. When I first discovered that I wanted to go down this path, I was attending a 3-day event. And during that event, something different happened to me. I awoken and I got up on the mic every single chance I got, which before that I would never even get near the mic. I would make sure they didn't want me to talk. But what happened was that 3 days, literally, and this is, when I look back at it, it's exactly what you're saying. The vibrations that were going throughout my body was something I'd never experienced in my entire life. But there was, I just felt like it was like my electrodes were shooting off like crazy. And it lasted for 2 full weeks. Now that could be a scary thing for somebody, right? But I embraced it. I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. I hope I experience it forever. But it hasn't happened since then. But I really believe that it was the unleashing, the unlocking of all the crap inside of my head that had been stored up for 51 years. And it was like, boom, it just broke it loose. And ever since then, just like you said, the people in my life that were not of value, were not, were more negative, have kind of disappeared. I didn't have to consciously say, oh, I don't want that person in my life anymore. They disappeared.
Right. Because they no longer resonate with you, right? Or they're like, oh, she's woo-woo now or whatever. She's, we're not good enough, whatever the story is. But
it doesn't matter what the story is. Yeah, because it's their story, not mine.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, shoot. So can you give us, let's see, what do we have here? I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. The best tips for people who are aspiring to get on a TEDx stage.
Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of people make the mistake and think, well, first of all, a lot of people make the mistake and think that TED is the be-all and end-all of everything.
True.
It's not. Now, it's very popular and it's a great vehicle if you approach it the right way. So one, I just invite you to consider that TED is one platform. Okay? Now, it's great. Get there if you want to get there. Awesome. What TED organizers especially are looking for, the really good ones, is not that you have that you want to speak on a TED stage. Like that is the worst way to pitch yourself.
Right, of course. I want to speak on TED. No.
So what? Are you living your message? That's what they're looking for. Is it an idea that you're actually living out? So for me, like this whole idea of vibration and living your miracle and being unapologetically you, like I live it every day. I coach it, I breathe it, I am it. I went through my own transformation to figure this out for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It is part of my story. It is my idea, right?
Yeah.
So start living it. Now, also, what's stopping you from giving a TED-worthy talk today? Go set up a meetup event. Every one of your Facebook Lives, how about you approach them as being TED-worthy? So instead of delivering content, because, and this is so controversial in the digital world, I know, but content has zero value because Google has cornered the market.
Okay.
And so I can get all the content in the world for free.
Right.
Now, your idea, your vision, those ideas we're spreading, I can become the ambassador of an idea. Those are valuable. Ideas I can take on for so I can present an idea and then you, Linda, can say, I love that idea. You make it your own. And now you're the ambassador of the idea and you further the idea, but you'll always connect it. You're like, oh my God, this guy David had this idea and like I'm creating it as my own now or whatever, right? Like that is how you go viral. When people can take an idea and make it their own. Otherwise, you're just all stealing content from each other. So start even all of your Facebook Lives, like what's your idea? What do you really believe unapologetically? What are you afraid to say to the world? Say those things. Start speaking from your passion and people will start to take note. Now, the other thing is you want to get on a TED stage? Well, look, we love to work with people that we know. And so who do you know? Who do you have a relationship with that is a TEDx organizer, a TEDx speaker, a TEDx coach? Start building those relationships. When you know that a TEDx event is going to be happening in your area, go volunteer the first year. Build those relationships. And then slowly as they get to know you and they're going to watch you on your Facebook over a year and see maybe that you're living out your idea worth spreading, you're going to get invited, no problem. Right? Or when you pitch that idea and say, hey, I'd love to speak on a TED stage, they'll say, well, ours is coming up in a few months or whatever. So the big thing is start speaking as a TED speaker, idea-driven, vision-driven right now on every Facebook Live. Every time you're creating a video, every time you're doing an interview, share your ideas. So I acknowledge you, Linda, too, that you just like, you're not just asking me questions, you're also like, you're sharing knowledge and your own experience, right? So you're just so you show up here in this interview rather than you just being like a guide or a host for me. No, this is a collaboration here. Right?
Right. It's more like a conversation.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
I can't help
someone
it.
Someone calls you like San Diego's Oprah.
Right.
Right. But there's a reason like Oprah got to where she is and someone like Ellen got to where she is, not just because she's a great, what's a great interviewer? You're having an open dialogue and you're creating space for this third idea to come out between the two of us, right? Where other people can now insert themselves in, right? And that is TED-worthy. That is like a bigger idea for people to latch on to.
Awesome. I love that because, I am curious by nature, and it's funny because I'm curious by nature, when I was a kid, I was stifled. Kids are better seen than heard because I asked too many questions. So I stopped asking questions until I became 51 and everything started opening. And that's when I started just asking question after question, because how am I going to learn if I stop asking questions? And kids are curious anyway. What's the most common question? Why? It's because they want to learn. And then what we do is we stifle them because they're asking us too many why questions, And so that's, I think, what me opening up and being open to discovering who I am allowed me to say, I'm a curious person and I ask a lot of questions. Therefore, I should be interviewing people because it's natural for me.
Right. Yeah, and you have something to bring to the table too, because then you take those ideas and you share some of your experience and how you interact with those ideas. And then the viewers, the audience, they get to see themselves in that too, because what you're doing is you're inspiring other people to think for themselves. You see a lot of speakers and presenters make the mistake and think that they want to be remembered. Well, here's a newsflash for you. Remembering is at the lowest level of the cognitive function of the brain.
Really? Okay.
Of the cognitive domain. Remembering is at the lowest. You want people to create and internalize for themselves. You want them to take your idea and create for themselves. And some people are like, oh no, but it's my idea and copyright and whatever. Stop that. Like that's ridiculous. Right? You are a one of a kind. You have the copyright on the universe already. That you got that. You arrived with
Yes.
your own copyright. So stop worrying about who's going to steal whatever from you, because I bet your idea anyway at some level is going to be on Google right now.
Not
So
only
get
that, you
over
probably
that.
stole it from somebody else.
Exactly. It's all like shared knowledge, right? Like, so
Yeah.
just be uniquely you, be your own copyright, protect who you are and show up as who you are everywhere. And you'll start to notice the way people interact with you is very, very different.
Yeah, and you know what? I love sharing that no two people on earth are alike, because even twins that are born into this
Right.
world, one is born a couple minutes before or after the other one. And if you have both twins together and only mom is home and both twins are crying, mom has to choose what she's going to do with each twin. So there's a difference right there. Like something different happens in their brain to say, mom likes that baby more than me, or whatever.
Which is crazy. And so that's the thing. Another great, unword is unique. Own your unique factor.
Mm-hmm.
You arrived unique. So let's stop this idea that, oh, I was better or smarter or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You are a proven miracle. Whatever way you look at this, from a religion perspective or from a science perspective, we are all miracles here. Okay, so if
true.
that's true, let's go live out our miracle, right? And deliver
Let's
it
do it.
every day. Yeah.
And it's beautiful because once you're living in your purpose, or you're living who you truly are, I don't know, every day is such a blessing. I find that life is slowed down, I guess is the best way to explain it, is that time has slowed down for me, even though it moves the same pace. It's like I'm enjoying so much of it, every minute of it, that it's taking a long time because I get to enjoy it. It's so beautiful. So beautiful.
And such a tiny little shift, right? It's tiny. Yeah. If only we learned that in high school. Can you imagine? See, this is, as a high school teacher, I think, oh my gosh, if I ever went back and worked with other teachers, this is what I would want to bring to them. This type of personal development and emotional intelligence that is like, this is what we need to be teaching our young people. Find out who you are right now, stick to that, build your relationships and hold on to those relationships, because community is everything. I'm sure you've observed that too. It's great. We have great ideas, but if we have no one to sell them to or share them with, so what? It doesn't matter, right? So
exactly,
those relationships are valuable through life.
Well, you made a great segue there, because I wanted to also talk about speaking to sell. So how do you, what do you recommend for that? Because it sounds like you have a totally different way of thinking than what we hear. Unapologetic. Yeah, completely different. It's very unique, unique. And I want to hear your thoughts on speaking to sell.
Yeah, so it's my observation, even in the last few years, and I recently was interviewed on this about the state of the industry and speaking, and a lot of other people are talking about this for the last couple of years too, is that speak to sell is potentially, from the stage, is dying. And there are a few reasons.
Yay.
It's dying. Like it's oversaturated. I mean, God bless digital marketers, okay? I'm not saying anything bad, but digital marketers grab onto something and then they oversaturate.
Beat it to death, right?
Right. And so unfortunately, the problem is that it's people everyone's starting to get to know what NLP is also. I mean, how many more times can you sit in an audience and the speaker be yes or yes? I'm like, I get it. Okay. But I wanted to say no. Can I have a real choice now? You know what I mean? Like these tactics are starting to become very well known.
Yes.
And so the only thing, my observation, right, the only thing that I've seen that really sells well and creates that stampede, if you are selling the idea to make money, and it has to be very linear. You invest this much and I will 10x your investment. And it has to be very linear, and then you can create that stampede. What I've noticed, and I test this all the time, even when I'm speaking, if you speak to build rapport, so what you're selling is yourself. You're selling the idea that I have something to deliver to the world here. And let's open a conversation. I want you to be in my community. Do you resonate or not? If you resonate, the next steps are hang out. Let's stay connected. Because I noticed even in my own buying patterns, it takes about a year or so before I will invest a large amount of money in a coach or something. I watch them. I check them out on Facebook. I watch them. I also noticed my favorite and best clients have watched me for about 8 months to a year.
Sometimes a
before
couple
they invest.
years.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I thought, wait a minute, how do we expect in 90 minutes to get quality,
Yeah.
the right people? Now, look, if you're selling a program or a widget or whatever, it's different. But I'm
Right.
talking about TED-worthy ideas we're spreading, transforming the world, creating positive impact in the world. If you're up to something bigger like that, then speak to build rapport. The best thing that you can have happen after you speak is that they want to come talk to you, or that they just want to stay connected, or to follow you. Be a leader. Lead your audience somewhere. Be a visionary. Get people to think and consider things for themselves rather than like, here's the exact blueprint. And you don't know that. How dare you even assume that you have the exact anything for that audience, right? When we're talking about transformation. And the other thing with Speak to Sell is like something like personal development, emotional intelligence, transformation. These things are harder. They're harder sells because they're more intangible.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to sign up for a therapist if they sell it from the stage, right? Like you have to, it's a relationship that you build. And mostly like anytime that I found a therapist of any kind or a coach, it'll usually be through a referral.
Yep.
So that's the other thing is like, how about you look at that audience as an amazing potential referral connection for you? Maybe they'll become clients, but maybe they'll say, oh my God, that Linda, that David, whoever it is, was so great that they'll tell someone else and refer people. Because you know, when someone refers, they don't need to check out your website. They don't need to do anything. If someone says this person is awesome and they do this, you're sold.
You don't even need a website when you have that.
Right. Exactly. So speak to build rapport, speak to be authentic, speak to be unapologetically you, deliver your vision. Stop trying to deliver value and measure yourself against this value ladder. Again, a very digital marketer thing, right? Yeah, vision and value. Yeah, what does it look like to deliver value? And so there's so many people right now in the entrepreneur world, digital world, that we're stuck with this idea about delivering value. And it really caused me to be in this like rabbit hole rut going in circles. And then I really started to ask myself, what does that even mean? And so I stopped delivering value because you know what? I am valuable. Thank you very much.
Exactly. So would you say deliver you? Is that what you would kind of say then?
I say deliver vision. What's your vision? What are you up to? So when you sell the idea of a vision, so my vision for the world is whatever that may be, is bigger than a product. You see, now all of a sudden you can speak to sell an idea because people have their own vision. And if you speak to fulfill people's visions, goals, dreams, bigger than a product, they will move and they will move fast into action, right?
What is your vision?
Well, my vision is to positively impact millions around the world. So there's two parts to my vision. One is that I want to really work with people to truly step into their unapologetic selves and not to be silenced, because I think that, like I said, we arrive as miracles and there's so much good that we can do if we were living truly in alignment with ourselves. And the way I inspire people to do it is through speaking. Now, the other side is that I would love to go back and so it was a high school teacher that basically saved my life. And I would love to, for teachers in the arts, is to go back and show them and their classrooms how to fundraise, how to build community, how to fund their dream projects. And then, teach them how to do it. Not just hand them, here's $1,000 or $10,000 or $1 million to buy a new computer lab or something like that, or go to Disney World, is teach them how to do it, because that skill of enrollment and building community is a game changer. And I learned it late in life. And I think that if we could teach teachers and students how to do that younger in life, the world would be a very, very different very different place.
And with you saying that, it totally makes sense to me then about the thing of not speaking to sell, but the speaking to move, because all the things you said are the things that I want to do as well. So that's how we say, oh, that's a man I resonate with. That's a person I want to get behind because he's doing exactly what I want to do. And that's how you do it. So
right.
You proved it right there.
Look, this is really cool, actually, because we've been in each other's peripheries now for a little while, but we haven't really personally connected.
Right.
And now you've seen me speak, because every moment, so that's the other thing. Let's give up this idea that you're a public speaker. No, like unless you're speaking by yourself in a closet, you're always a speaker. We arrived as speakers. Now I've spoken and you've spoken a bit. I'm like, oh, I know that she kind of resonates with me and she's up to something big too and has big ideas. You know that I do. So now we're on each other's radars more, right? So now we have some rapport. So now there's going to be a further conversation eventually down the line, right? Of collaboration, of maybe you'll send me a client, maybe I'll send you a, right? That's how it works. This is since the beginning of time. So this whole speak to sell idea is almost like we're trying to shorten the time span when it's like, yeah, but I'm in it for life here. I'm not in it for that one hit, for that one, you know, like I want this to be sustainable for the long time so I don't have to reinvent myself in 4 years when I churn and burn through that topic or that audience.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Because I'm going to one more question before we go, just like your opinion on something or your thought on something. And then we're going to go because I want to keep it close to 30 minutes here. And so that question is not do you have any regrets, but what do you think of those young people? Because I'm meeting a lot of young people, 6, 7, 8 years old, who feel they seem like they are living in their purpose. What do you think about that? And like, how do you feel for them?
So you're saying they are living in their purpose?
Yes,
6, 7, 8 years
exactly.
old.
At such a young age. Oh my gosh.
We arrive with everything that we need, period. And we arrive as speakers because kids say the darndest things, right? Like, so what changes? So what would it look like if we inspired those kids to start speaking and to start delivering vision and to start feeling valuable because of who they are and their place in the world? And we kept that going through high school and we kept that going through college or whatever they decide to do after the fact. We would be very different. Like people like you and I wouldn't be rediscovering ourselves at 40 and 50. You know, like it's just wasted time. So I look at kids and I realize it's like, oh, we had it all. And then some point, something happens, someone says something, a traumatic experience or something happens that shuts us off.
Yeah.
And then there's this whole process of rediscovering ourselves. Almost everyone goes through this. Why? Why can't we just continue that continuum of just living out who we are unapologetically and things working? You know, it just works when we're a kid.
I love that. I'm so glad I asked that question because I feel like you and I are like almost twins, but you know everybody's unique.
Right? Yes.
So with all of that, oh my God, what an amazing interview. I really appreciate you being here, and I love your screen in the background, Global Thought Leaders Network. I love that. It's amazing. But I look forward to hearing you speak at the Massive Success Breakthrough. I'm going to be on the stage with you guys. My first time on a big stage. Oh my gosh. Am I excited? Yes. But I speak all the time, just like you said, but it's just different because I'm going to be in front of more people than I have before. But I'm excited to be there, excited to hear you, and let's move mountains, move people into action. And we have the same vision, and I love it. And if you have a vision like this and you want to connect with David, how can they connect with you?
Oh, so easy. Delivervision.com. Delivervision.com. You can connect with me across all my social medias. You can send me a message there, check out some of my videos and stuff like that. And come to Massive Success Breakthrough. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. The lineup is amazing. I'm going to be talking more about this whole idea of delivering vision over value and what that looks like and how to do it as a speaker and a thought leader, and how to position yourself and to truly live out your purpose, your passion, your miracle. So yeah.
So beautiful.
We'll see you all there.
And if you don't believe in vision and purpose and passion, you should attend the event to find out exactly what that is, because it really is real. And it is, he said, it's not unamazing, it's amazing.
It sure is. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. And then I'll see you around the block.
Yes, we will. See you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.